Okay, this is the guy that I'm making the series to. Just getting to know him myself. I like him now. He's a nice guy. And this interview that he's doing right here is a really good interview, too. It's probably not the one I would have normally started off a series with, but I'm just going to run with it because I don't have time to fuck around too much today.
Hello and welcome back to the channel to another...
Oops. Oops, what am I doing?
Bluetooth pairing.
Uh-oh. What did I do? I killed the fucking thing?
Professions were handling, particularly during the COVID period, but in medicine in general, it seems to be going downhill. So he's been in touch with the authorities in that direction. And our conversation that we had before sort of meandered into restorative health, which is something he's very big in, food security, and of course the importance of soil when it comes to growing good quality, healthy, organic food. So I thought it'd be great to have an update to find out what's going on with him in his world. Not a million miles, if I remember it's in Kent, but I'll just double check that with Russ. Russ, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Richard. It's really wonderful to be re-invited back up. Thank you so much.
Did I get that right? You're in Kent, not too far away from Sussex.
A little bit further north
Essex.
Over the River Thames, Essex.
Essex,
yeah.
I knew it was that sort of, that neck of the woods. There you go.
East.
Brilliant. East.
Southeast England, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there we are. So, you presumably have had a bit of snow recently, actually, have you?
Do you know what we did yesterday? It was pretty heavy, and then it sleeted, so it's all gone away now.
I'll try to skip through the small talk and stuff.
Let's no snow whatsoever. Down on the south coast, where the
Why are people getting sick? Why are people getting sicker than the thing that probably wouldn't kill them in the first place if they were under an age of, 60, and certainly if they had no comorbidities?
And as we know, Andrew Bridgen has been really the only one who has sort of stood up and asked those questions as an MP. Yeah, just to make that clear.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your interview with him, and really supporting Andrew in his mission. It seems that he definitely has a mission in Parliament to try and get that heard. So that's why I approached you originally, and you interviewed me. I had a letter from the General Med Council in that time, stating that because I wasn't a doctor, it wasn't their remit to talk to me, to give me any information. So basically, because you're not in the club, we're not interested.
Right.
Kind of seems there's a lot of that going on. If you're not in the club, you're not welcome to information. I'm kind of getting the gist of that as we go down the line. To bring us up to date, so as said, I wrote 5 letters. So General Medical Council, doctors, they've responded. Nursing and Midwifery Council, they've responded. But my nursing union, the RCN, the Prime Minister, and the Health Secretary's office, after 6 weeks, haven't chose to respond at all. So,
did you expect a response? Did you expect the Prime Minister to get back to you and say, "Oh, I'm ever so sorry about that. We'll give you whatever information you would like"?
I'd like to say yes, but
you had nothing, not even a standard letter or anything.
Because I sent these letters recorded delivery.
Right.
And so I expected at least a letter of acknowledgement of receiving the letter to their office.
Yes.
Which I haven't received at all. So as a member of the public and a medical professional, given the responsibility of literally in the environments I work in, with the teams I work with, saving people's lives, it's either us or death.
Yeah.
Right? I would think it would be reasonable as a member of the public and as a medical professional for them to at least acknowledge the fact they had received my letter and a letter to say, thank you for your kind letter. We understand you have concerns or not. Unfortunately, or rather we are very busy or we're looking into it. Just something to say you've not been ignored.
Yeah.
Now I appreciate Rishi Sunak is not going to open a letter personally, but he has an office,
Absolutely.
and those offices have lots of staff that would have received my mail because I sent it recorded delivery.
Yeah, I mean, so their job is to be somebody whose job it is to answer all inquiries, and so presumably they've opened it and thought, well, we'll just shove that over there and we'll get to it at some point. Maybe the next government can do it.
Right, and also, and of course, you have shared this many times on your show. The purpose of the government is to represent or at least hear the views and opinions of the public and represent us, the public, and give us an opportunity to voice our opinions and hopefully to acknowledge it. But this is one example of them not acknowledging what are a large proportion of the public through your channel and others like Russell Brand and John Campbell, etc. They're just not giving us any. God, I'm lost for words. It's just like they're just not giving us anything.
Even if they respond, and I can say this from other people who've written to me and shared the responses from MPs that they have written to, just to sort of prove that they've written them, and I've seen the replies. It's either a very much a cut and paste standard reply about, say, the vaccine, for example, and it's just the same, whatever the story is, not any kind of, yeah, that's an interesting observation, concern, complaint, whatever it is. Thank you very much. I will pass that up and represent. It's no sense that you're getting anywhere. You're just getting stonewalled. No, it's all safe and effective. Now, thank you very much. Go away. Which is, it's just a continuing story, and it's just not acceptable.
And certainly, as a health professional who's given his, I'm 52. I was 52 yesterday. Well, I made it.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I started nursing when I was 19, actually when I was 17, but not actually formal nursing training until I was 19. At Maidstone School of Nursing, and followed up. They are not even given, just ignored. And yet, the whole of the nursing medical profession, if anyone should know about medicine, it should be us.
Do you think one of the reasons they might? I absolutely get that, and I know I remember you making that very clear in the last interview that we did. But do you think that they, a nurse or a registered nurse comes in and says, look, I've got this concern. You're not talking about such and such and what have you. Are they thinking, hang on, this is not, you've gone above the normal channels. You should have spoken to whoever I don't know what it is in the NHS, your line man.
No, because there's 7.8 billion zombie slaves. It's not just a couple hundred. There's 7.8 billion zombie slaves, and they are all educated, and they consider themselves intelligent. And this is what it's called nowadays. This is what we call it, intelligence. When you believe all the lies, and you're able to go to the top of the ladder, all the food chains, top of the ladder are the biggest liars. So if you're not the biggest liars, but the best liars, people that can lie good, and you can attract a lot of attention and get a lot of people to follow you in the wrong directions and not look around and don't see what's all around them. That's a good slave. You're a good zombie slave, and you go to the top of the ladder of the zombie slaves. You don't go to the top of the ladder. You don't get to make it through the reset, in most cases. So all these people that I'm calling out, I'm hoping that one of them sees that hey, I'm going to be included. My family, friends, everybody's going to be included in this takedown, and then that's another big problem with all this is that everyone thinks that the takedown's sometime coming. The takedown happened, the last one 3,000 years ago. So we came back from a takedown. We started. Again, all lies, and when we come back from this takedown, then you'll know what it's going to be. It's going to be space aliens are God, because they got everybody believing. 7.8 billion people no longer believe in God. Now they believe, if they do believe in God, it's only an empty faith. It's not something that they can prove with reality for themselves. They have to have faith in it. Well, what I'm showing you, and when I start showing it to you, you don't have to have faith in it. You see it. It's nothing about faith. It's about reality. So I will be asking you, do not use your imagination. Do not bother with your faith. You don't need it. I'm going to show you the reality. Go look at the reality for what it is. It's going to be hard for you. That's why I'm explaining this before we get into it. This will be the first couple parts of the series. This guy that you got on with you, he's a nurse, and what he's gone through. Okay, so we had hundreds of thousands of doctors and nurses all over this earth that were all acting against the best interest of humankind when it came to this. You know what? I cannot even talk about it. Even when you guys are talking about it, my videos. That's why I'm gonna probably not play too much of this. My videos get deleted and I get shut down on my channel for playing something that your channel will be showing. It's been proven. It happened with all three of the last series that I did. I had some shit happen. Candace Owens talking to Joe Rogan. They're shooting the shit about stuff. His video don't get deleted. Her video don't get deleted. But for some reason on my channel, I get shut down and my video gets deleted for playing their video because they were talking about the you know what. Thought that was kind of strange. And then on there was me talking about the you know what, but only to my personal experiences because I have doctors and nurses that are in my life. So these doctors and nurses that are in my life, I see all the ridiculous nonsense that they went along with. And as I question each thing, we lost family members, we lost friends. They're not going to face that. They're going to fight their mirror neuron and they're going to use their mirror neuron manipulator all that they can. If I have time later, I'll explain the mirror neuron and the mirror neuron manipulator to you. I explained it to your friend Jordan Peterson, who should be able to take off with that fucking little bit of information and go to town on it, but he didn't. I don't see him talking anything about it. He's still on lobster juice and fighting with woke people and stuff. You know, he's not going to look at the reality of it, which makes me think that he's hiding reality. And he's also someone that will sell you on evolution. He's selling his students on evolution. He never went and looked for himself. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. And then after I made the series to him, he's still out there pushing evolution. No. It's not the way it was. True Creator built feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. The false creator / creator stole the true creator's work. In other words, the energy, the imagery. Divided. And as he kept dividing, we had the biosystem is what he ended up building. And then there's a long story behind all that too that we could talk about, but that'll have to be for later videos. But that's the gist of it. So when I show this to people and they deny it, and you got to fight all these different industries, including the one that this nice gentleman here is talking about. And Jordan Peterson's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. He might be an agent. Who the fuck knows? I can't tell anymore. This guy, what he's talking about, we're still going through this shit. I still got nurses and doctors in my family who are wearing masks that do not stop nanoparticles. As a matter of fact, that most of them don't even stop microparticles. Definitely not going to stop nanoparticles. It's not being the you know what, it never stopped them from getting sick. They've gotten more sick than I have. Some of them have died from both the you know what and the you know what, and they've died from that, but I get no recognition for it. They don't believe me. They're telling me no. I talked about, okay, well, the lungs shutting down the kidneys, which then caused a heart attack. I went through that whole shikishimo with everybody and said, why is everyone dying of heart attacks? Is it really heart attacks? I don't think so. Oh, okay. All right, if you're gonna make it in time, all right. Love you. Bye. What the hell was I talking about? Okay, so there's still okay. So I got another one. They go home at the end of the day. They spray themselves down with disinfectant, strip off all their clothes. They're still doing the whole shower routine thing and changing 2 times and going through different rooms and then bagging everything and special batches of laundry to be made to do all this. You know what I mean? It's fucked up. That means she's really and he are really convinced that they need to do these things in order to stay straight up. These same people will not look up and see the fucking mineral streets fucking being dumped on their head every day. These same people will not look and see that the sun has changed from yellow to white. They will not see that the moon and the sun do not run in the same fucking lines that the heliocentric model claims they do. They won't look into the moon, which we can all do. We all have telescopes. You don't even need them once you go look at what I'm going to show you. They won't look. They just refuse to fucking look. And that goes for us too, because here you are, nice guy, going down all these roads of finding the conspiracies, and not, I don't even like calling it a conspiracy, finding the bad shit that's being done to us, right? Saying that it's coming, right? It's everyone's chugging away. The Jeff buys cars, all these channels, and you guys are claiming Canadian prepper, all the people that I've been turned on to over the last couple months. This new girl, Squirrel Tribe, I think, yeah, Squirrel Tribe. Nice people, all great people so far. But they're all claiming that these things are coming, that they're going to happen. All right, so the virus. We've had fucking thousands of viruses. We can go back in history and look at all the other ones that our ancestors and our great ancestors ignored and pretended that one was from mice. Yeah, it's from the mice. And then we watch everything that revolved around that mice infection, right? And maybe it was from the mice, don't get me wrong. But you could easily just as well put it into a mosquito, right? Because then if you put it in a mosquito, then a lot of people would get Lyme disease. Remember Lyme disease? That was the big thing back in the 80s? Not 80s and 90s, more yeah, it started in the 80s and then went into the 90s. So by the end of the 90s, we were all very familiar with Lyme disease. Did a lot of damage to a lot of people that I knew. The fucking Lyme disease doesn't get discussed. No one talks about it. You had the AIDS virus come out and get blamed on, oh, that's a conspiracy. That's a conspiracy. Well, wait a minute. You purposely injected fucking people. What you were purposely inject, same kind of shit they were just doing in Ukraine a couple weeks ago, right? So they're coming out and admitting that they were doing trials on all the soldiers, the Ukrainian soldiers, testing them with AIDS virus or some shit like that. So all these weird things that you're claiming that are going to happen are happening now have already been happening for so long. And by missing the bigger picture, the zeros and infinity lies, right? The heliocentric lies that you're living on a spinning wet parabolic ball. That's a big one. That's a big one. Because there's so many things that are wrong with that when you go and look at what I'm going to be showing you over the next couple hundred parts of your series, hopefully you'll be able to realize it because nobody else is. You'll be able to see how important it is that you all wake the fuck up. You do a good video on some awakening things. I'm gonna get to them. I'm gonna play them. I won't even be talking in a lot of the videos. That's why I'm doing my talking now because it's the first couple parts of the series. And I'll only start interrupting you a little bit here and there as I'm showing you the true creator. True creators, builders, the false creator / creator. So these doctors and nurses, you see how I jump around a lot. These doctors and nurses, they should have fucking done something in this most recent episode. I gotta be careful how I word everything. In this most recent episode that you think is the biggest deal that ever happened, it's really not. It's happened many, many times over in the past. But all the other times, none of the medical industry ever did anything about it either. The holistic medicines, you go back to the holistic medicines, were all a lie. Imagine that. So here, holistic medicine people for the last couple hundred years, oh my God, 500 holistic doctors all got murdered and killed in suspicious ways. Maybe they really did. Maybe that's really possible. I don't know. But now that I know what I know, I don't have to second guess the fact that all the holistic doctors all had it wrong as well. We were not paying attention the whole time. I'll tell you the reality of it. We were not paying attention to our heavy metals and mineral makeup. Humans are not. We still are not. We have not for a long time. This technology that I'm talking about that we used to move these 350-ton stones with, the technology we had that we could cut out of the side of a mountain a 350-ton stone in the first place, all these things that we today call weather, because what we used to use for cutting the side of a mountain, we today might call plasma, lightning. What we use to move them, we might today call hurricanes, tornadoes, that kind of thing. Reverse magnetism, was a huge way of moving these huge stones around. So you didn't need. So why were we guessing all the time about? Yeah, it took 50,000 slaves to pull this fucking 5-ton stone up to the top of the pyramids and get it into place. And we got evidence now because we just tested it with 2,000 zombie slaves and they tried to pull it up. And did they succeed? No, they didn't succeed. But we could see how it could happen with 50,000 because we went to a 500-pound stone with 2,000 people. So we figured, yeah, whatever it was, 500. But in other words, it was unnecessary. We didn't even have to do that. We just had to look around for ourselves and we would see the system for ourselves. Now, there are groups of people who have this technology, right? They call it weather now today. And they tell you to watch out for it. They take out entire fucking countries with it. They just took out Syria with it. And they warned Syria. They warned us. They warned the zombie slaves before they do it. But the zombie slaves are so busy fucking looking at nonsense, shit that shit that we think is going to happen someday that's really already happened hundreds of years and it's already been going on for hundreds of years. They're going to turn us into slaves. No, they already did. They already did turn us into slaves. 10,000 years ago, they turned us into slaves. And then every reset that they have to have afterwards, I don't know why the resets, they get to a certain point, they're done with us, and then that's it, and they get done. I would like to think that it's because there's an awakening that happens when you get above a certain amount of people in the population. Maybe there's a great awakening that ends up happening, and they have to worry about that because if everybody wakes up at the same time, then they'll be fucked. I would like to believe that, but so far, I don't see that. And when I say we're running out of time, I don't mean that it's coming someday. I mean, it's already fucking happened. I mean, it's running out of time before it happens again and again and again and again. How many times are we going to go through these resets and how fucking dumbed down, and I'm sorry, how intelligent are we going to be each time we come back? Because the next time we come back after this reset here, I mean, I certainly won't be here. You probably won't be here. None of us will be here for this reset after this reset. Um, I don't think so, anyways. Depending on where you live and what's going to get hit. And again, that's only a guess too, because those things could change. Then you got fallouts and you got all these different things. I'll also mention while I'm doing this video, I mentioned before, they like to do their takeouts using, for the last 10,000 years or so, they like to do their resets using testicles and penises. They've always used testicles, and most of the past resets they've used testicles. Now this time they're using penises. I don't know. I always joke and say it's a man's world, but that's what they're doing. And just to make you maybe feel a little bit better too, just to let you know, okay, out of the tens of thousands of those penises that they're going to throw all at each other and everything like that, because there are tens of thousands of them at this point, between everybody who has them. But less than 1% are actually going to succeed in doing any real damage. So if that makes it feel any better. But that's enough. It's enough to do what they want to do the reset. Because as long as they're all strategically placed and they're all strategically landed, that 1% is enough to do a lot of fucking damage. So you gotta remember, when we all come out of the caves, come out of the tunnels, wherever we're hiding, the ones that were lucky enough to make it out in the open, we're gonna come back to space alien gods. Gods are gonna, oh my god, space aliens came down and fucking knocked us out with asteroids. They're going to be ready with all them stories, just like they did with all the biblical stories after one of the last resets of maybe 3,000 years or so. It's hard to say exactly when all these resets happen. I know there's an answer to these questions. I just don't look for them that closely. I'll mention in this video, since it's one of the first ones, the moon. The false creator/creator built us a clock for the humans, I assume, for all creatures, I would imagine, but humans have a conscious understanding of that clock, and we always had before. Now, after the last reset, maybe even, matter of fact, this is how you know the geocentric model is a lie. Get it later. This is how you know the geocentric model is a lie. Okay, all the stationary stars, and I'm going to do another set of stationary. All the stationary stars go away right for a minute. All stationary stars. The energy from the stationary stars comes down through the moon. The moon's full of imagery. I'll show you the imagery. It's mapped out in the Earth. Earth is not flat. Don't worry about it. It's not a flat Earth model. I just did what I had to do to make this happen. Because I usually shine a laser beam light down here, through here, and back outside the other side of this moon. They all stay together. They're all working together. All these wandering stars work together along with the sun and the moon to make the mechanical aspects of the false creator slash creator's biosystem. The true creator, this is how you can determine the true creator's work from the false creator's work. This is how you can do that. By going and looking at the system I'm going to show you, and when you look at the imagery in the moon and you see what I'm going to show you are the timelines, the moon timelines in the moon. So every time we see a moon crescent, again, we're told that moonlight is from sunlight bouncing off the moon. We should have known that was all bullshit a long time ago. Just by how the light reacts at nighttime, it's a different type of light. The idea that light would bounce off a bunch of dirt. I mean, what is the moon made up of fucking mirrors for shit's sakes? I mean, it's just so full of shit. But because they did that moon landing for you, because the NASA was good enough to lie to you and impress you enough to say, hey, we're landing on the fucking moon, baby. We're taking a car with us. We're going to take a fucking 700 pounds of extra weight on a rocket that we don't even know if it's going to make it. But that's how ballsy we are. We're fucking astronauts, man. So we're going to go up there, take the car with us. Not only that, but we're going to lie to you so bad and throw it in your face and show you just how much of geniuses you all are. We're going to do shit on the moon with that car that is going to go against all your physics, all your science that you're taught in school. We're going to drive that fucking car and the dirt's going to spit off the back tires and fucking go right back down on the ground. Right back down in the moon. Fall back down again. And no one's going to question it. No one's going to question it until we come out, us agents will come out someday, 30, 40, 50 years from now, and then we'll bring it up and we'll start posting videos everywhere because that's what they did. And we're going to post videos about, gee, how intelligent was everybody to see the flag blowing in the wind. Well, gee, a lot of fucking, well, that's moon wind. That's fucking solar moon wind. Ridiculous. The whole thing was ridiculous. And when you see how retarded that fucking story was, yeah, you got two choices. You're going to feel really stupid and feel bad for, lying to everyone and yourself all those years, or you're going to deny it. And you're going to deny it. It's like everybody does. Everyone's like, oh man, this dude's fucking nuts, man. Another one who says the fucking moon landing was fake. Anybody with half a fucking wit is going to say that the moon landing is real. I get you, because you've all been educated. You've been taught in your schools that this is the way that things work, and that's outer space, and you don't, it's all bullshit. That was all lies. And then even the physics, because you brought zeros into physics, you have to start all over with it. All the scientific realms all have to be redone because of the math alone. But there's other reasons too, but the math alone is bad. Okay, so the geocentric model being a lie. So we know that when they did under the geocentric model, if you watch Santos Bonacci's videos, you get an idea of what they told you the star patterns were and all that kind of shit. Well, now that I know what I know, and that was not the star patterns. The star patterns are mapped out in the moon. So I'll show you when we get to the moon videos.
Power off.
Yeah, whatever. So when we get to the moon videos, I'll show you that. So I'll show you the timelines, and I'll show you, because I have not actually showed that in a long time. Probably about 3 years since I did a last video on those stars. But I'll show you the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper mapped out in the Earth map model, the moon map model, whatever you want to call it. Whatever I want to call it, I should say. And I don't care what anyone else calls it. You guys call it a spinning web pararocket ball. Other people call it a flat Earth. Other people want to call it a matrix. Other people want to call it a hologram. Other people want to call it a hallucination. It's none of those things. It's what I'm showing you it is. And I don't even need the words to fucking tell you, because don't trust these words coming out of my mouth. They're all lies. Everything. Bleh. Fucking humans are liars. All of us. So don't bother believing what I'm telling you. Go look at what I'm showing you and all will be told. That's one of my catchphrases. So if you go look at what I'm showing you, then all will be told without using a single word. You don't need words. The humans were lying since we've been fucking talking. So so why bother, right? So go look at what I'm going to be showing you over the next 10 videos or so. I'll really lay into it in the next few. I just needed to get this out of my system, and it's probably going to go through this on every one of these videos. I'll probably end up going through this. I like this, doctor, and I like you. I like you, Richard, so don't think that I don't. But as we go along, some of these things, I know I'm going to get kicked back on, right? As I'm saying them to you. So I have to let you know right off the bat, don't bother giving me any kickback on them. If you don't get it, you don't see it, okay, I gotta just say, you're a fucking idiot and move on. At least do that so that I know and I can hold you responsible for coming and seeing what I showed you and refusing it and refusing to go look. That I need. I never get it from anybody, but I fucking need it. Let's see what I got for time here. I don't like this speaker.
Power on.
Be with you. I don't have alignment. So I
30 more
wasn't
minutes.
expecting all, big parades or whatever, in the sense of we'll give you information. Big parade to say, here's the information, Mr.
Ladies
Man,
and
no
gentlemen,
problems
live
at
on
all.
stage, a big
We
parade.
respect you above.
That's what I mean about running off. That's what I mean about running off. I'm always running off on everything. Back to the doctors and nurses. Okay, so you saw the doctors and nurses coming out. Very few of them, right? At the end of all the scenario. Can't use words. Can't use words anyway. So the fact that I'm a fucking liar about everything really shouldn't even matter because you can't use words anyway. Okay, at the end of the whole shebang, which is not still the end is never the fucking end, just like anything. But anyway, you see them all on the Senate floor, these doctors and talking to the senators and governors and prime ministers of your country and all this kind of shit. And there's a handful of them, maybe 12 of them around the room, but the things they say, oh boy. So the reason why they were quitting and the reason why they left, a handful of them, not tens of thousands that should have all left, like this guy's about to tell you, if I can shut up and let him talk. Everybody should have fucking left. Everybody should have stood up and said, no, we're not doing this. But they didn't want to lose their job. They didn't want to be called murderers. They didn't want to be called, that they're responsible for that. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but their job is too important to not do that. What are you going to do? Just fucking kill everybody to go along with it? No, man. And then you got to deal with the guilt of that the rest of your life and be thinking about, no, man, just don't do it. And then, we put these people through medical school. We put them on a pedestal. We call them doctors and nurses and put them on a pedestal. Then all of a sudden, we ask them to do something like this and ignore this. Okay. Over the years, they figured out, real quick, because I only got a few minutes left of this video. Okay. It was right after the Korean War. It was probably during the Korean War sometime. They figured out that laying people down in hospital beds was causing post-op pneumonia. Their food and the water would get caught in their esophagus and would cause pneumonia, go down in their lungs and cause them pneumonia. But they learned to sit them up on a pillow. And then eventually the beds, that raised up, the raised beds and the raised legs all came into play, and they started doing it that way then, right? So we didn't have so much, so we cut down a lot of post-op pneumonias, at least when it started going away. And then that caught on at home as well, right? Because the word went out, and then anybody, okay, yeah, he's in bed with the flu. He's in bed with the flu. Yeah, he's in bed with the flu, doctor. He's got a temperature and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, just make sure you sit him up after he eats and drinks and stuff like that. Don't let him lay down while he's eating and drinking. We don't want him to get pneumonia, post-op pneumonia, because that's what it would be, post-op pneumonia. Just someone that's stuck in bed and they're laying down while they're eating and drinking and they get some fluid in their lungs and causes them a problem, right? So over the years, working up to what they called technology, medicine technology, I guess, they started realizing that if they gave them shots of steroids. Now, I'm not defending this idea. I'm just saying, in the case of an emergency, when someone's lungs shut down, they realize that if they gave them 20,000 cc's of, and this is not me saying that, these are medical industry people that claim this, so it's not me. That's why I'm bringing up these 12 doctors and nurses that were at that meeting, because they also claim this. Okay, so we were all told over the years to give them 20,000 cc's of a steroid in order to bring their lungs back. And it was saving, I think, 70 some odd percent of the patients, I believe it was saving. So if that's their number, then why did the federal government, CDC, EBD, FBI, CIA, IRS, all the agencies come out and make it mandatory and get behind mandatory fucking, it doesn't make any sense. Mandatory that we were only going to give them 2,000 cc's now. Anybody with that word in it, and they have it in their body, they were only going to allow. They were no longer going to allow. So you hear the stories about it, and there was some nurses and doctors crying, tears. Now I'm not a reporter. I'm not even really a YouTuber per se. I try to go against everything. You notice I don't have any gimmicks in my series, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, because maybe that's the key to it all. I don't even usually come on camera. This is all new to me in my videos, because I'm trying to show you the true creator. I'm trying to show you all the true creators' work, the false creator / creators. This is fucking big shit. The biggest we've ever seen, the most important thing you've ever heard in your lives. So it seems a little weird that I'm nonchalantly explaining and talking about it with my trash mouth, smoking joints, drinking a coffee, all nonchalant, like it's no big deal. It is a very big deal. It's the biggest deal ever. Okay? But what am I going to do? I'm doing the best I can. So if they were told not to give these 20,000 cc's, then every nurse that walked into the room should have one nurse and one doctor after another saying, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm giving him 20,000 cc's. He's going to die if I give him only 2,000 cc's. We know that from experience. I don't care what they call this one. There are hundreds of others pneumonias out there that we deal with on a regular basis. We know if they're this bad, we're not going to fix it unless we give them at least 20,000 cc's, right? So that means that happened thousands and thousands of times over. Okay, another one. The shots themselves. I tried talking to this about my family and stuff. They're in the industry. They will not get it, and it's their business to get it, and they don't want to get it. They don't want to know the truth. Okay, so you can shoot the fucking shot into a vein, and you can fuck somebody up, right? So they're supposed to do the drawback. They're supposed to do the drawback nonsense and all that. Why didn't they? Why aren't they? What's the big deal? The extra second would have affected people. If you got the wrong, if you got blood out of it, you'd have to pull out, go in somewhere else or something like that. So you waste a shot. That has to be the reason, right? Or is the reason why do you really purposely want to just go like this and go like this and then go like this? And then purposely just inject this shit, and whatever happens, happens. It's a crapshoot. Nah, man, it's fucking people's lives. You fucked a lot of people up doing that. So here again, another nurse that was in the business who quit the business, who maybe he's going to talk about that, I don't know. We were doing many, 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 many things that made no fucking sense. But this is not the first time that these things have happened. They've been in programs all along that we've been going through. In other words, the takedown is not over the last 3 years, not over the last 10 years. It's not even over, I only go back myself, I only go back 40, 50 years. But it's been way longer than that, right? So I only go back 40, 50 years because you try to go back any further than that, people are like, wait a minute, you're 50 years old. Why are you talking about things that happened 3,000 years ago? Were you there? Shit like that. But when I show you what I'm going to show you, then maybe you go look, and you actually go look, then you'll be thinking, oh my God, all this shit that this asshole's been saying all this time, I've been watching his videos, wasn't really understanding him. Now that I see it, now I get the fuck he's saying. There's no such thing as zero or infinity. We've been lied to about everything. Outer space is not what we were fucking told. The math is not what we were told. The science is not what we were told it is. Human consciousness is not even what we were told it is. God is not what we were told it is. It's all been fucking lies. Yeah, it's all been lies. It's the way it is. So don't think it's something that's on its way. we're very
here we go.
late.
No,
We're very
not at
late
all.
to the game.
But I was doing it as a process of my due diligence. If I was to be employed by another and had a boss, then it absolutely would be the case that I would need to put my concerns to my employer.
Yeah.
If I wasn't happy with my employer, take it to the next stage,
Right.
senior employer. If I still wasn't happy, then escalate it to the NMC, my Nursing Midwifery Council, my professional body. And it's perfectly reasonable that as a member of the public, I can be asking these questions of every position of power that's making a decision on our behalf.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. So, as you said, you're not employed by them on a PAYE basis. You may have been working on the bank or whatever, and as a member of but any member of the public can put those concerns to the government. And really, if they do feel that they have concerns, they should. People.
I was just remembering, Richard, that
in
the first video that I did, this is the second part of your series. This will be part 2. I was brought up your eye. And I just remember when I saw your eye. I'm gonna be curious if you're able to crop images better, because see, in the true creator's work, everything is collaged. And when I was mentioning about me being able to see double when I was a kid, now I say being able to see double when I was a kid. I can still do it if I make my eyes cross. My eyeballs don't go crossed. I don't think they do anyway. I never really looked in the mirror. But I can definitely see double again when I want to do this with my eyes. There might be something to that as far as why I'm able to take images out of collages, but it has more to do, it seems to me, with color. So there might be something with that, because one eye, I notice if I close one eye and then the other one, you'll notice that one sees further than the other. I've noticed all these little tricks with the eyes that we've been using. All my life I've been using these fucking eyes, and I didn't realize that I even knew how to do a lot of these things, adjusting things. The other one is the fact that the true creator and the true creators builders don't build according to up, down, left, right, backward, forward, in and out. So when you're looking at things that are already collaged as it is, then that means your eyes are able to do this, and they're able to flip upside down. Now it takes me, a little bit of time. Each one is that's why I'm doing this with my hand, because that's the way I do it with my eyes. I'm going back and forth, and my eyes are fucking turning upside down and everything like that. And my head's just like this and straight. Now, I don't know if I was always able to do that. So those are some of the things that I have an understanding, appreciation, and empathy for when I'm showing other people the system. But when I'm showing you shit that's dead on, you're only going to be getting the images that are from your angles of perspective. So the angle of perspective from the cloud to the camera, in the example of the clouds, the angle of perspective from camera to camera on my desk right now to this camera, the angle of perspective from your eyes to your computer that you're watching this particular video on. All those angles of perspective are going to be changing, and they're all going to be different. So if you just step to this way, or you go to this way, or you go up a little bit or down a little bit, or whatever way you want to go, what I'm saying is that every angle of perspective is going to change. You're changing the lights and shadows is what you're changing, essentially. I'm looking forward to bringing you into the moon, and I may start your series off in the moon, because I think you deserve it. I think you're that nice of a person that you really deserve the real kick in the balls, that it really will set you off so that you see it. And then, because you need to see it in those couple places really to get the even beginning to understand it and becoming a reality for you. So if I show it to you in the moon first, you go start looking at the moon first, then we go to moon to clouds, and then we'll go everywhere else from there. And I need to do some rocks and stones that I haven't done in a while too. Those videos are called remasters. I call them remasters. But anyways, I wanted to mention that because I mentioned it earlier and then I ran off like I do.
I always think it's important to be able to go to the top man, because they're the ones making the big decision.
Exactly, and that's exactly how I was taught by my mother.
Exactly.
Right? So if you don't get the answers, go to the top. And then
but if the top doesn't, what happens?
Doesn't even acknowledge you.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
That's the worrying thing.
Yeah.
So the reason for my letters was simply to ensure that I've done my due diligence as a professional member of staff and see what their response is. So as said, the General Medical Council responded by stating that because you're not a doctor, we don't have to talk to you, which we both agreed was rude. That's the least of it. The greater ramifications of that are just like, what? So just because I'm not a doctor doesn't mean you don't have to talk, you don't have to share or have any level of responsibility for what's going on, or acknowledge my concerns of the excess deaths, etc., and gave the references within the letter. The Nursing and Midwifery Council has contacted me in the meantime. They have stated that it is our job to regulate nurses' standards and regulations within the nursing field. It is not our job to make protocol or mandate or define regulation regarding government policy. And that puts concern in my view, because as a nurse, if I don't know what I'm giving as a drug to my patient, so it's 5 hours, right drug, right dose, right time, right route, right patient. If I don't know,
helpful, it's the right patient.
right? If I don't follow those 5 hours and know the implications and side effects of the drug that I'm given,
yeah,
and the patient has a negative side effect of that medication, and we fill out the yellow card and it all comes back to me, it's me that's on the chopping block.
Right. So you've got to know. You've got to know.
You've got to know. So the NMC therefore are asking me, holding all nurses and doctors, GMC doctors, to basically know what they're doing and be diligent, do their due diligence, and to never give a drug that you don't know what it does, you don't know how it acts, and you don't know what the effects are. And yet they are failing, as their professional bodies, to do the same themselves. And I see that as gross hypocrisy. So, as a result,